Hello, this is a very special day. We are presenting finally the Unicist Theory after 40 years of playing a low-profile role in order to build the Unicist Theory to solve complex problems, complexity in general, and to deal with the nature of things. The Unicist Theory introduced a logical approach to reality by finding the logic that underlies nature. But I will start by clarifying that the extreme low profile we played is now being changed because the multiple applications made all over the world and the multiple researches, more than 5,000 that have been developed since 1976, which included the development of a community of more than 50,000 followers in the world, requires that we accept the role we have earned, meaning the role of having changed the paradigms in sciences in the field of complex adaptive systems. I would like to clarify again that the Unicist Theory explains the nature of things using a conceptual approach that allows defining what is behind of what is being seen on the surface. It is a breakthrough that changed the paradigms of sciences in the field of research of complex adaptive systems. Systemic research is based on artificial experiences, on observers that cannot exist in the field of complexity. Complexity has no univocal relationships, cause-effect relationships. They are bi-univocal. The limits of adaptive systems are by definition open, which requires a different approach to research in order to research based and ending with the results that are produced. That's why complexity research is driven by results, by real actions, and not by simulations. It is based on the discovery of the ontogenetic intelligence of nature. The ontogenetic intelligence of nature is the intelligence that underlies and regulates and drives the evolution of nature. That is what we found. And we found that this intelligence is defined by a purpose, by an active and entropic principle, and by an energy conservation principle. These three elements integrated in the oneness are the ones that drive the evolution of nature. This finding drove to the hypothesis that all what happens in nature has the same structure. It cannot be differently. It is a unified field. What was found is that this intelligence is integrated by two types of relationships we have called supplementation and complementation law, where we found that there exist no other relationships in nature but the relationship of being complementary or supplementary in a situation, when these elements are, of course, in a unified field. They might be in different fields depending on the results we are developing. This discovery drove to the development of the Unicist ontology, where in fact we went back to the origins of the word ontology in philosophy, but gave it a different purpose, because the purpose of the Unicist ontology is to describe the nature of things based on the ontogenetic intelligence of nature that underlies all living beings and is deposited by the living beings on the deeds or action they do. This Unicist ontology allowed defining what things are and how we can deal with them. Or what is this? What is it for? Are basic questions that are answered by the Unicist ontology. This Unicist ontology has a triadic structure which cannot be approached by dualistic thinking. Triadic structures cannot be apprehended. Human's mind has neurons on or off, it's binary. Therefore, what was needed is to discover and develop that there exists a double dialectical thinking in mind that allows apprehending things in their nature, and that is the intelligence wise people use. This double dialectical logic demonstrates the fallacy of Hegel's and Marx's dialectics and demonstrated why the predictions made on Hegel and Marx dialectic were basically fallacious. They were only valid in stagnated environments. The Unicist ontology, based on the ontogenetic intelligence of nature, the Unicist logic to apprehend the nature of things, allowed developing ontogenetic maps which define the unified field of an entity or something that is needed to be influenced in order to make something happen. The purpose of all this research was not finding some theory. The purpose was finding a way to influence complex environments in order to make them evolve and generate additional added value for the benefit of all those who participate in the environment. These ontogenetic maps we developed to define the unified field allowed having a sort of GPS of what is happening, where are we, what is what we need to do, and how can we influence the environment by following the natural process of the logic that is implicit. To do that, what was necessary was to find the concepts that underlie everything, the ontogenetic intelligence and the Unicist ontology of something. We named it concept because it follows the same concept that years ago was approached by Immanuel Kant, and we went further in order to define that the concept really exists and that they drive the behavior. This concept allowed building objects which emulate the objects in nature. Nature is organized by objects, and so are all the complex adaptive systems. Complex adaptive systems have no variables. They have objects because they have no univocal cause-effect relationships. They have open boundaries, among other things. They have bi-univocal relationships, and they are integrated by the conjunction and there are no disjunctions in complex adaptive systems. The building of the objects allowed emulating nature like the organs of the body, which work as objects. It's a demonstration of the functionality by object of a living being. And they allowed developing objects that allow driving processes, catalyzing processes, establish gravitational objects, inhibiting objects, and entropy inhibiting objects to make things happen. This finally required an upgrade in the way of validating this knowledge. Therefore, from the old falsification and validation process known by systemic sciences, we moved to a destructive test approach and non-destructive test approach in order to be sure that the results will be produced. This theory finally has been built to generate value. That's the purpose of this theory. There is no other purpose, there was no other purpose. Now, this is a breakthrough in sciences that changed the research paradigms, because you don't research variables, you research objects. You need to research within a real application, and you cannot make artificial experiences. These artificial experiences might be a nice or functional way to find hypotheses, but to define a complex adaptive system, you need to use the Unicist logical approach in order to find its structure, and then end at with an operational approach which is dualistic, so everyone can use the Unicist theory applied to his field, to his or her field. This has been applied for decades in the social field, in the business field, in the individual field, in order to influence environments to generate additional value. Thank you, and I hope you take advantage of this. You will find a summary on our website.